Hey, it's Greg Lamb here from the Sleater Group. I've done a lot of reviews on individual software, but now I wanted to take a look at how the two biggest companies in small business online accounting software, QuickBooks Online and Xero, compare against each other. I'm not going to go in depth into every single point, but I will highlight where I find there are major differences. Please be aware that the features are based on the US editions, unless I specifically mention a non-US edition feature. Let's talk about market share. QBO leads in the US and Canada, while Xero leads in Australia, New Zealand, and the UK. While neither company would like to outright admit this, the territories they have the largest market shares in are also where they are strongest feature-wise, as they have local customizations in the way of taxes and payroll that make them better suited to those markets. On a global scale, QBO has about double the amount of paid subscribers in comparison to Xero. Now with pricing, they both have their low-end packages in certain territories starting around $10 a month, but expect to pay at least $30 or $40 to get the majority of functionality, and to double that if you're adding functionality like payroll. Please be aware that what you get really depends on the software, territory, and price point chosen, so you really need to take a look at your local pricing for both QBO and Xero to see which package is the best value for the business you're considering using it for. Aside from niche cases, they're both comparably priced. When it comes to basic accounting, both QBO and Xero have the basics down, which includes things like a fully modifiable chart of accounts and journal entries. I only point this out because some invoicing software, such as FreshBooks or GoDaddy, don't have this type of functionality. Now on to banking, categorization, and reconciliation. Both have automated bank feeds and can manually import files like CSV and QFX. The difference is that in the US, QBO has its own bank feed service, while Xero mostly uses Yodlee. Or is it Yodlee? I don't know how to pronounce it. But anyways, it does have a few direct connections with certain banks. Outside of the US, Xero does have plenty of direct bank connections. The best way to find out if you can get feeds for the banks you use is to sign up for free trial accounts and test it out. Whether or not the feeds are reliable is a different question, and you can only answer this question by being connected to the banks for a few months. Just because you can initially connect to a bank, it doesn't mean the feed is reliable. When it comes to categorizing imported transactions, I have to tip my hat to Xero, as they have always been and still are the leader in this area. QBO and Xero both have a combination of internal and user-created rules that help to automate the categorization process, but Xero offers more fine-grained control. For the task of matching entered transactions to existing ones, again, Xero allows more flexibility. For example, QBO doesn't allow you to use or create credits or deposits. It also limits you to adding a single new transaction when there's a difference between the amount imported and the matched transactions. These are admittedly edge cases, but there's simply more that can be done with Xero's banking page. The biggest differentiator between the two is cache coding, which is a feature that Xero provides to its advisors, or in other words, accountant and bookkeepers. In its pure essence, it's an embedded spreadsheet that you can use to mass categorize transactions. This works fantastic if you're trying to catch up on a backlog of imported transactions. Cache coding makes it easy to sort and manually categorize transactions. You're also able to select any number of transactions and batch categorize them using one of your user-created rules. For example, if you identify 15 restaurant transactions, you can apply a generic restaurant rule you created to all of them at once. I have to admit that QBO has come a long way with its banking page and is way better positioned against Xero now than ever before, but Xero still is the number one software for dealing with imported transactions. On to income and expenses. All in all, both offer what you need to invoice customers and enter bill from vendors. Xero recently enabled billable expenses, so they're on par with QBO for that feature now. However, there are subtle differences that I'll talk about. With Xero, you can create a contact group and fire off invoices with same line item details to a group of 10 or 100 companies. This would obviously be good for companies that have basic recurring subscriptions, rentals, or memberships. It's not super robust though, so you would need to use a dedicated add-on when you need to add variables like different rates for various customers or add in billable expenses. With QBO, you can create invoices that let you decide how many days in advance you want them to be created, automatically send an email to the customer, and include unbilled charges. if you choose a sales receipt type of transaction, you can automatically charge a bank or credit card. Xero has repeat transactions, but not with those specific abilities. If QBO had the ability to apply the recurrent transactions template to multiple customers at once, this would be quite powerful. Right now, you have to create a new template for each customer, and there's no ability to copy a template. When it comes to customization of invoice and email templates, Xero has the edge. Xero allows you to assign templates to specific customers so that the invoice and email template is automatically selected when you send out an invoice. With QBO, there's no capability to create email templates, and you have to specifically choose a non-default invoice template on an invoice-by-invoice basis. QBO has the ability to customize templates, which I think is good enough for most businesses, but Xero allows the use of Word doc templates, which enables more customization than QBO. Xero has an approval process for invoices and bills, whereas QBO does not. Xero has a customer portal that allows a client to log in and view outstanding invoices, while QBO only allows customers to view one invoice at a time. However, QBO does have a built-in messaging and file attachment system, which allows for good communication. On the other hand, Xero has an online quote approval process, which does have messaging, but it's a one-way system to send an email to the business, and businesses cannot reply back. Okay, let's check out payment processing. Which software is best suited for your payment processing needs depends on your use case. Xero comes ahead if you need to have multiple payment processor choices and don't want to get stuck with only QuickBooks or Intuit Payments as an option. However, with QBO and QuickBooks Payments, signing up is really easy, and the whole process, from charging customers to reconciling your banking, is seamless. There shouldn't be any manual work necessary. Also, QuickBooks Payments offers ACH processing at 50 cents a transaction, which is a solid rate. On the other hand, Xero doesn't have any payment processing add-ons that can handle ACH, but its add-ons can provide better credit card processing rates. Now on to data import/export. Xero wins out in this area, as it can import/export most transaction types via spreadsheet, and as of the last time I looked, had more API endpoints accessible, but this may have changed. On the flip side, if you're willing to pay for an add-on, QBO has Transaction Pro Importer, which can import most transactions and lists via a spreadsheet. Let's talk about reporting. This is an area where QBO bested Xero, but now Xero is on top. Xero provides the following reporting capabilities: business performance reports, which provides financial ratio widgets; management reports, which groups together reports into a single publication; customizations that include text blocks, footers, schedules, comparison to previous periods, notes, accrual or cash basis, groups and the ability to name them, the ability to summarize or list accounts within a group, formulas, and being able to move the location of accounts and groups; published reports, which saves a report within Xero for future viewing and also allows it to be copied and edited; budgets. QBO has the following capabilities: custom reports, which allows you to memorize reports for future use; management reports, which groups reports together into a single publication with cover pages and notes; customizations that include accrual or cash, add-in subcolumns, displaying row/column data by totals, timeframes, customers, products, and so on; add-in subcolumn comparisons, like percentage of row or percentage change; hide/show active or non-zero rows; display only transactions from a specific item within a list, like single or multiple customers; and editing headers and footers. Create report groups that let you automatically email reports on a schedule or at any time you like. This is different than management reports in that it doesn't have room to add cover pages, tables of contents, preliminary pages, and endnotes, but it does have the ability to email out the report on a schedule. And budgets. Both have come out with revised reports, with Xero calling them new reports, whereas QBO calls them redesigned reports. Although at this moment, you need to turn on that feature in QuickBooks Labs to see it. So, depending on whether you're accessing the revised reporting formats or the old ones, some of the capabilities may not be present. What wasn't mentioned was that Xero has something called report templates, which is a customizable and advanced version of the management reports that can be used across multiple businesses. This will be discussed in the Accountant Features section, as they can only be created by users with that type of access. Evaluating based on the features discussed, excluding Xero's report templates, I give Xero the nod in reporting, as it allows for more customization. Let's briefly talk about sales tax. I'd give the edge to QBO in this area, since it has a dedicated sales tax page, whereas Xero does not. Both now have Avalara Avatax integration for handling the charging of US sales taxes within multiple jurisdictions. E-filing is not possible with Xero, whereas QBO says it's coming soon. Both have add-ons that can provide e-filing capabilities. Now it's time to talk about Accountant Features. Both have partner programs that provide special support, training, resources, and discounts. They also both have tools that can be accessed within clients' books, as well as general management tools. Within Xero, these are the features that are unique to accountants that are found under its Advisor tab. In other words, there are a lot of functions found under the Advisor tab, but I'm only going to talk about the ones that can be accessed by an advisor. So something like journal entries can be done whether you're an advisor or not. So for the reports, they have management reports, which groups together standard reports. There's year-end or annual accounts exempt reports, history and notes activity. There's reconciliation, which groups together reconciliation reports. There's report templates, which uses report codes and report fields. This is currently only available for the Australian, Global, and New Zealand editions. However, I hear it's being introduced into the US edition soon. With report templates, if you have accounts with the same code and name in other businesses, you can import a previous mapping to save time. Report templates can combine multiple reports, like the profit and loss and balance sheet, into a single package that can be created with the click of a button. Under the Advisor tab, there's also Find and Recode, and there's an export feature, which allows you to export the general ledger and chart of accounts. The report templates is quite interesting, as it can really cut down on the amount of custom work needed on individual businesses. Once you create something you like, this can be applied to all businesses. Xero has a partner area called My Xero, or Green Xero, that offers the following: manage companies, manage staff, reports, which allows you to manage report templates, education and tools, subscriptions and billing, settings for your public profile, account, practice, and report publishing style. Xero also has 2 additional pieces of software that accountants and bookkeepers may be able to access depending on their location and the number of clients they have. There's Practice Manager, which is free for Silver Xero partners. You need to have 25 plus organizations to qualify. And there's Workpapers, which is not available in the United States, but is year-end tax compliance software for New Zealand, Australia, and the UK. Within QBO, it has the following accountant tools that are unique to accountants. Or in other words, just like Xero, there's lots of tools found in accountant tools, but I'm only going to talk about the ones that only accountants can access. There's reclassify transactions. There's being able to view voided/deleted transactions, write off invoices, accountant reports, and there's report tools, which allows you to set a default date range and accrual or cash basis for reports. QBO's accountant dashboard has the following: company templates, which you currently need to turn on in QuickBooks Labs, that lets you set up a template and use them to set up different companies. Manage clients, including being able to request documents and information, as well as add in billing and payroll. View client dashboard, which includes lists of accounts and reconciliation status, payroll, requests, documents, and book to tax. Manage team. And lastly, view Pro Advisor status, training materials, discounts, resources, and profile. One feature that seems similar with both software, but is actually a bit different, is QBO's reclassify transactions and Xero's Find and Recode. Xero's Find and Recode offers a lot more in the way of search criteria, as you can search by type, status, account, date, transaction total, tax rate, entered by, and contact. QBO, on the other hand, only lets you filter transactions by account, name, and whether it is item or non-item based. Additionally, while Xero allows you to change the contact name, account, and tax rate, QBO only allows the account and class to be changed. One nice feature of Xero is that you can choose to reclassify all transactions or create a single journal entry that makes the changes. The single journal entry allows for recategorizations to be easily reversed if need be. QBO has better tax filing features at the moment, providing you use Intuit Tax Online, as you can use the Book to Tax feature to transfer data to the program. Xero has no native ability to send income tax data to be e-filed, although its income tax features outside of the US are more developed. On to help and support. It used to be that Xero was miles ahead in this area, but QBO has made good strides as of late. In general, I find Xero's documentation and community sites to be more organized and of better quality. However, as Xero has grown, I found the information has started to sprawl and not be as easy to access as it was previously. A nice feature within Xero is that you can organize help documentation by local edition, so that you're not looking up features for an edition you can't access. Xero has an active blog frequented by its support staff. Its general help is purely email-based, but I found the answers to be both timely and knowledgeable. If you're a partner, you'll get your own manager that you can contact via phone or video chat. QBO's documentation used to be all over the place, but it's a lot more organized now, and the in-app search of help does a better job of displaying where the information is coming from than it used to. I still feel that Xero's in-app help is cleaner though, and more context appropriate. For example, if you click on help, you can get page-specific information, and all the major pages have quick user guides as well as "What's this?" extra pop-out information icons. QBO has not had the most stellar reputation for support, but it does have live chat and phone calls available. Let's compare file attachment. Both have file attachment features which allow you to attach files to most transaction types, but this is how they differ. Xero allows you to attach documents during a reconciliation, set up a folder structure for attached documents, create more types of transactions than QBO using already uploaded documents. From the account transaction list view allows you to see whether transactions have an attachment, a solid document viewer that lets you zoom in and rotate, side-by-side viewing of documents and transaction forms, and the ability to email in files. On the other hand, QBO allows you to view all attachments from its attachment page. This is important to note because documents not placed in user-created folders can't be viewed in the Xero's Files page. Add notes, and batch download all files. Okay, now it's mobile apps. QBO has a more extensive mobile app than Xero, as it allows you to handle more transaction types and accept mobile payments. Its interface is also nicer than Xero. Xero has more limited capabilities, but where it does beat out QBO is in its bank reconciliation functionality. Xero's approach to mobile apps is to focus on the functionality they believe a user will most need while using a mobile device, whereas QBO offers an app that more closely mirrors the functionality of the web app. Now let me briefly talk about inventory. Xero recently got inventory in 2015, and now it has a better offering than QBO. However, it's not dramatically better, as both provide basic inventory functionality. You'll need to use add-ons with either software to get advanced functionality. Payroll. Currently, QBO is more comprehensive as it has coverage in all states. Xero is still building out its support for all states and currently has about half the states covered. They do have add-ons with companies like Zen Payroll, which is now called Gusto, and ADP. On to international support. Xero wins this category as it was built on a global platform. Its multi-currency was baked right into the software from the get-go. QBO did add multi-currency to the US edition in 2015, but it's not nearly as robust as the Xero offering. The global edition of Xero is in general more full-featured than the global version of QBO. Additionally, there are little things that Xero does, such as allowing access to all countries' bank feeds, no matter the edition, and segmenting help documentation based on edition that makes Xero more friendly for international users. Now it's time to talk about user interface/navigation. As time has gone on, I'm enjoying the user interfaces of both QBO and Xero more and more. There are some places where each excel. Currently, I enjoy QBO's Create icon, which lets you create most transaction types after clicking it. In Xero, with the exception of the dashboard page, you have to navigate to the specific pages to access the ability to create new transactions. However, I know Xero has functionality similar to QBO's Create menu in the works. The dashboard of Xero is more customizable and is thus more useful to me than QBO's. Depending on which page you're in, I find which software I like best changes. I like Xero's reconciliation screen better, but I like QBO's interface for creating invoices better. I do like how when you access transactions in QBO, it overlays the new transaction over top, so that when you close that transaction, you're still on the same page you were before and aren't navigated elsewhere. QBO also has universal search, which I find works quite well. Although Xero has been promising a global search feature, which has been on the cusp of release for months now, or years. It's been a long time. I've found drilling down into data to be slightly better in QBO than Xero, but again, this depends on which information you're trying to access and on what page. I'll quickly talk about automation. I've already mentioned automation when discussing the reconciliation processes, as well as recurrent transactions and reports. But overall, I find that Xero has more features that let you cut down on manual tasks. However, an area that QBO bests Xero is in its deep integrations with payments and book-to-tax. And now for the conclusion. I recommend the use of both software, so I will not be coming out and saying QBO is better than Xero or vice versa. I don't think you'll make a big mistake by going with either one. My overall feeling is that Xero has more power user type capabilities in comparison to QBO. Xero also feels more open and customizable to me, with its data import-export structure, settings, and API. QBO has its own payment processing, payroll, and book-to-tax, which are great because the integrations are rather seamless, but this also limits your options to use other software for those tasks. Which software is the best also depends on what region you're in. As mentioned at the start, QBO has a lot of good US and Canadian specific features, whereas the same can be said for Xero in Australia, New Zealand, and the UK. Both companies are well funded and have been pushing out new features in an effort to catch up and to leapfrog each other. Never before have the capabilities of both software been more similar. I think within a year, Xero will be even better positioned in the US as it finishes building out its state payroll coverage and gets better with US specific reports and tax filing. I'm not privy to QBO's global plans, but I'm sure the same thing can be applied to them as well. I'd honestly get to know them both, even if you only plan on specializing in or using one of them. They both offer free trials as well as demo companies to play around with, so get your hands dirty and see which one you like best. Alright, this is Greg Lamb with the Slater Group, and I'll catch you on the flip side.